everybody, I'm Maria of mariamindbodyhealth.com, and today I want to talk to you about something very near and dear to my heart. Everything from fertility, a healthy pregnancy, and breastfeeding. This is something I get asked all the time, and it's something that sadly I was told food did not take a part in for my fertility. When I was about 16 years old, I was diagnosed with PCOS. If you aren't familiar with that, that's polycystic ovarian syndrome, and sadly it's becoming on the rise today. It is where there are high androgens in a female body, and those are a male dominant hormone that can cause infertility. Now you want to look at the root cause. What is causing these high androgens? We know what it is. We know that it's a high sugar diet, which also means a high carbohydrate diet because those carbohydrates are turning into sugar, but it's also touching on the caffeine part. Caffeine will also increase those androgens. I, however, now eat a ketogenic diet and I don't drink any caffeine either. And never say never, because I was a girl who worked at coffee shops since I was age 16, and I love that job. I lived off of mochas and lattes and coffees and Americanos. But now it's just not something in my desire to have. So you can break those habits too. I see all the time memes about coffee and bulletproof coffee and all that. That is something that is going to affect your insulin levels and in turn affect your sex hormones. So that's just one piece. Carbohydrates, sugar, caffeine. One part of the PCOS part. Now with PCOS, there's going to be some estrogen and progesterone imbalance. You might notice that you can fall asleep, but you tend to wake up about 2 or 3 a.m. Like, bing, I'm totally awake. You might experience some anxiety. You might experience migraines, facial hair, acne on the back. Those are all different hormone imbalances, and you can correct those with certain supplements. It's not a one-size-fits-all. So I do personalized health appraisals, but you want to look at a natural progesterone cream like Progest cream by Emerita. This is not a bioidentical, anything like that. It's like a wild yam extract, and you would just use this at nighttime to help with sleep, rotating with your cycle. Again, that's something that would help with you one-on-one. You would also want to look into a GLA. I use emu oil. I used to recommend evening primrose oil, but I've never been a big fan of seed oils. It comes from a flower, a seed from a flower. Emu oil comes from the animal, and I find that much safer. That's a GLA. You'd want to do about 6 capsules of that. Again, that would be individualized depending upon the person. Another thing that's going to affect your fertility, if you are dealing with a lot of miscarriages, which sadly I see all the time, a lot of ketogenic people that are starting to eat keto use sea salt, Himalayan salt, good quality salt. However, we live in the goiter belt where we're not getting a lot of iodine. I don't like oysters. My husband does. And we're just not getting a lot of iodine in the middle of Wisconsin. So something to consider is adding an iodine. An iodine deficiency is one of the main problems with miscarriages. So adding in some sort of iodine. I take kelp capsules. Again, not a one-size-fits-all. So a personalized assessment would be recommended. Something that I think a lot of doctors are afraid to tell you, or they don't know, is that the cholesterol in foods help make healthy hormones. And we know this because breast milk is primarily made up of fat and cholesterol, and that is to help make the baby's gonads, it's to make their sex hormones, it's to make their thyroid hormone work properly. We need cholesterol for our hormones. And to run this point, for you not to forget this, when I work with men that are on statin drugs to lower their cholesterol, they're usually also taking Viagra because they're no longer making testosterone like they should, causing a whole slew of problems. So cholesterol in foods, if you look at our Paleolithic days, When a male and a female were at their fertile point in life, they were given those foods that were high in cholesterol. And so we need those too for a healthy fertility. Again, something that I was never told, and I want you to know this. And it's not that I don't, or I judge you for cheating or having a cheat day, something like that, but I want you to know that I spent a lifetime of being really good during the week, and then on the weekends I would do whatever I wanted and have, you know, extra carbohydrates and things like that. And it kept me in a state of PCOS where it would just come back Monday morning with a vengeance. And I just want you to know that now that I understand all of these yummy foods that I thought were bad are things that I can have, there's no need to have cheat days. I have ice cream every day, but I just make ketogenic ice cream. I love hamburgers. I have those all the time. I just make them with keto buns. So those are just a few of my tips on fertility. Now, when it comes to pregnancy, I've had numerous clients that have done a pre-keto pregnancy and a keto pregnancy. Not only is this a very healthy way to nourish your baby, it's also going to give them all of those brain building fats, those proteins to help build a healthy baby. And you get rid of all of those processed foods that help create a really healthy baby. And so I want you to know that the women who have done both a non-keto and a keto pregnancy say that they don't have the nauseousness, they don't have the illnesses of low iron counts and morning sicknesses and things like that. So do know that there are a lot of benefits of doing this throughout your pregnancy. Do not limit your calories, do not limit your protein. Just know that lowering your carbohydrates, getting those healthy fats in is great for building that healthy baby. Now, when it comes to breastfeeding, you may experience a little bit of lowered milk production, but I want to tell you why that's okay. You are producing something called golden milk, and that's where that milk is so high in fat that the baby might be getting less actual milk, but it's a much higher fat content. Again, this is not a bad thing. There's different supplements, herbs that you could add in to increase your milk production if needed. But again, if you do not limit your calories, you do not limit your protein intake, you just keep your ketogenic diet by limiting your carbohydrate count, you will produce that golden milk. Do know that if you've lived a very toxic life in the past, you are going to pass those toxins on to your newborn, which is not ideal. So living a very healthy life before you do in fact have a baby, get pregnant, and start breastfeeding is very, very important. But with those tools, I hope that you learn from my mistakes, stay keto, make your body healthy, and have those healthy little babies. And show me those pictures because I love getting tagged in keto baby pictures. I'll leave you with another tip. First, baby foods. Breast milk is primarily made up of cholesterol, which we talked about, versus baby formula, which is primarily made up of sugar. But once you transition off of breast milk, some things to consider. My kids, their first was bone broth. I have videos of baby Kai signing for his bone broth. Also, bone marrow is a great gelatinous food for those babies. Mashed avocado. Now, eggs, you want to make sure that you hard boil the eggs, save the whites for something else, but the yolks you could mash with some bone broth to make a very nice consistency. Add some nice quality salt for that baby, and that is one of the perfect foods because it resembles breast milk a lot. But with those tools, I hope to see those baby pictures. Have a good one, everybody. Now, if you'd like more tips on supplements or how to eat foods for a healthy pregnancy, fertility, all of those healthy hormone balances, we have a whole chapter in the book Keto The Complete Guide to Success on the Ketogenic Diet, there's a whole chapter on hormones. So check that out. It will give you all the tools you need to succeed.